Let's examine Gavin Newsom's bogus body language and the facts. He's trying to grab all the anger, the pain, and the suffering the Californians have experienced and shift that negative energy onto the Trump administration by blaming them that they don't want to help Californians. They don't want to give the FEMA money to help Californians rebuild. The truth of the matter is they don't want to give the money to Gavin Newsom to manage because he's grossly mismanaged California to such an extent it wouldn't be wise to give that man $1 to manage anything. And let me explain to you why. California has the highest tax rates in the United States. It has the highest fuel tax, petrol tax at 69.8%. It has the highest income tax in the United States at 13.3%. It has the highest unemployment tax for employers in the United States. Not only that, it has the highest sales tax in the United States, and to boot is the most regulated state for insurers. So much so that it has caused companies like Occidental to actually leave California and other companies like Allstate and State Farm to pull out or restrict the amount of policies that they write in California. So bravo, Mr. Newsom. You've done a fantastic job mismanaging California. Nobody could screw it up as well as you did, not even with trying. But now let's dive into Newsom's weird body language and why his body language is not congruent with what he says in his words. Where Ben Shapiro refers to Gavin Newsom's jazz hands when he overuses his hands when he's trying to communicate. He does this because he's nervous. It's excess nervous energy that's coming out. We teach people in our training seminars how to communicate subliminally with people so you have greater impact. They feel like you're empathizing with them and it feels natural. But the way he does it is not natural.
We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to labor leaders.
But he's been trained. There's no doubt about that. But he just overuses that tool. And it comes across as what? Phony. Because what is Newsom? He is a phony and an actor. Then the other weird thing he likes to do, he likes to wiggle his shoulders.
We're not hopeless. That's the spirit which I'd rather focus my attention.
So the other day he's talking about people being full of hope but helpless. And then he wiggles his shoulders. And I've noticed when he wiggles his shoulders, he's happy about something. So it makes me ask the question, is he happy about people being helpless? Hopefully it's about people being full of hope. The second thing, when they talk about land speculators, you'll see in this video clip.
Down in Hawaii, you had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators.
Once again, he's wiggling his shoulders. It's just kind of weird. Why are you so happy about land speculators? I mean, what's on your mind? Another incongruent and trait that Newsom has is that he smiles at inappropriate times. And it just freaks the hell out of me when he smiles at he's talking about people suffering and whatever. He does it when he's talking about speculators. He does it when he's talking about Marshall Plan. When he's talking about all this stuff. He loves to smile. And sometimes smiling is good, but you don't smile when you're talking about other people suffering, man.
It's unprecedented. That's not a numeric. I talked to all my experts, all the firefighters I've been with. They said we could add an engine on every house in 90-mile-an-hour winds with all the pressure in the world.
The other thing he does, which is very common actually for most human beings, so I'm not going to bash him on this too much, is we call it eye blocking. When a person hears something that they don't like hearing or they see something they don't like seeing, they will have a tendency to close their eyes and hold their eyes closed a bit longer in this moment. You can see an example here.
And I'm honored and proud to represent these folks, and I desperately plead with them.
As I previously said, Newsom's trying to grab the blame from the fires and put the blame on somebody else. But the fact of the matter is, 2018, he was warned that he needed to clean out the forest to get rid of all the underbrush to prevent having a forest fire. And two, the fire hydrants didn't have water to put out the fire. So, whose blame is that? It's the leadership's blame. I'm sorry. It's called gross mismanagement. It's almost punitive. It's massive negligence.
This cleaned out and protected. You got to take care of the floors, the floors of the forests. Very important.
And the truth is, Gavin Newsom should retire. I agree with Jillian Michaels when she says, just resign. You've messed up so bad. You have no business being governor of the great state of California.
The governor should resign. People are dead. Homes have burned. It is not your first rodeo.
And that's why they don't want to give you money, because they don't trust you with the money, because you're not a trustable guy. You've completely screwed up the state. You're a complete disaster. You've never worked a day of your life. You're wealthy, though, because you've inherited, you married into money to the Getty family. Most people don't even know you live in a $9 million mansion.
Gavin Newsom just dropped $9 million on a luxurious mansion outside of San Francisco.
So you've never had to deal with driving to work in the morning or dealing with issues of rising utility bills or people breaking into your home All those things that normal common people have to deal with, you've never had to deal with. So Gavin Newsom, do the right thing. Resign, crawl into a hole, don't come back. We don't want to see your clown ass anymore. Gavin Newsom is a compulsive liar and opportunist, and I'm going to prove to you why. Went and said that Donald Trump is a racist and hates brown people, as you see here.
I thought the Attorney General was right about the Trump administration having issues with immigrants, but I think he could have been even more pointed, and forgive me, Mr. Attorney General, by saying he has a particular problem with brown people.
Whether I was a national security prosecutor, a public defender, President Trump's deputy director of national intelligence, his chief of staff at the Department of Defense, or so many other roles that I was humbled and privileged to serve when I swore an oath to that Constitution, which I hope to do so again one day soon.
Now look at this other videos of people who have worked for Donald Trump and what they had to say about Donald Trump. And tell me if Gavin Newsom was telling the truth.
My favorite President Trump story. When we were negotiating with the Taliban while President Trump was still the president, President Trump wanted to get out of Afghanistan, but he wanted a conditions-based withdrawal. It's President Trump and Mike Pompeo, and they are talking to Taliban leadership in the room, and they had one translator in the room. President Trump looked at the Taliban leader and said this: "I want to leave Afghanistan, but it's going to be a conditions-based withdrawal." And he said, "If you harm a hair on a single American, I'm going to kill you." And the translator goes, and Trump goes, "Tell him."
Yes. Tell him what I said.
Tell him what I said. Reached in his pocket, pulled out a satellite photo of the leader of the Taliban's home and handed it to him.
Shut up.
Got up and walked out the room.
Sure did.
Do you know for 18 months not a single American was killed in Afghanistan?
Sure did.
That's the definition of strength. That's what I'm talking about.
Gavin Newsom, you're an embarrassment to the human species. Why don't you go crawl in a hole somewhere, just disappear? We don't want to see you anymore. Get lost, man.